Alright folks, unique topic here. Not specifically a knife commentary or knife review, but let's think about knives and collecting knives and what your role is, what your job is. Obviously if you're with civil service or the military, that's pretty easily explainable what you might need a knife for. If you're doing construction, I can see that as well, what you might use a knife as well for. But if you just have a desk job, or what I'm going to classify as a knowledge worker, you know, all these knives that we're buying and collecting and talking about, you know, what do I as a knowledge worker, do I really use these on a daily basis? Well, frankly, no. You know, these are just kind of collecting items, discussionary entertainment objects that you know, they're not really needed for at least my daily role. And if you're an information worker, you know, let's define that a little bit. If you're in a desk 8 hours more a day, and you're not really doing any physical labor, and certainly not outside, you're in front of a computer, you're basically a knowledge worker, right? You're not manufacturing really anything, maybe ideas, content, etc., but that's kind of what a knowledge worker is. So, do you need the Benchmade 580 Barrage? Do you need the SOG Aegis? Do you need the Benchmade Mini Presidio? You need the Nitrous Striker, and you need a Leatherman Juice? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think you really need to carry probably any of that. So, you know, most offices would frown upon any kind of knife usage, or if you know, pull them out and had one. I know that that would probably be a big no-no in most U.S. work locations. So, if you're a knowledge worker, what's the point of having a knife collection like this? Well, again, I think it's just more after-hours entertainment. It's the learning of new technologies, manufacturing, learning all about steels, you know, the mechanisms of opening, those kind of things. And then just weekend warrior, after work warrior. So, you know, what do I personally tend to use my knives for? Well, honestly, it's when other knives show up at the door. I've ordered more knives, and I need a knife to open that knife box. So that's probably when they get used the most, you know, and any kind of package that comes. You know, I'm not going to cut up food or anything with my knives. You know, I'm not hunting or gathering or any of that kind of stuff. You know, I live in the suburbs. I have you know, normal kitchen, nice knives for that kind of stuff. Not going to get my Benchmade knives dirty, or any other brand I may have for food, or, you know, chicken, whatever. So, you know, just, and then as far as carrying a knife for, you know, defensive reasons, defensive technical reasons, well, you know, again, you know, I tend to not put myself in those types of situations in the first place, you know. I know you can get surprised on things and being just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but, you know, and certainly, again, talking about my situation, I don't necessarily live in a bad area, certainly not a rough neighborhood, so I would not really seeing that as a practical thing that I would ever have to run into. You know, and so let's say, you know, I did live in a different neighborhood and I was a little bit more at risk, or personal safety was an issue. Honestly, I mean, pulling your knife out is a last resort, you know, and the first thing you want to do is probably try to get yourself out of that situation, right? Don't even confront it. Run away if you can. Honestly, I mean, why? You know, if you can run away and your personal safety's at risk, you might as well do that. So that's one thing. It sounds a little weird to say that, but hey, that's true. So yeah, personal safety and carrying the legal knives that you're allowed to carry is one thing. It's, again, you want to remove yourself from the situation, maybe defend yourself, lock yourself in the car, whatever you need to do. But the normal knives that you're allowed to carry in many states, I don't think they're going to be big enough to really be used in a defensive or tactical combat manner. I still think get out of the situation. It's these sizes aren't going to be good to fight with. And if you could, honestly, if you're that close and having to fight with someone, I don't know if I want my hand, occupied or busy holding a knife. Maybe it's better to have both hands completely free and not have to use certainly not have to use a lethal mode. Certainly depends on the situation you're in, but I'm thinking maybe I'd rather just have my hands free. But I don't know, just some random thoughts on it. That I didn't really start the video to talk about that subject. It really was to focus on knives and knowledge workers. So reality, very limited usage. Maybe you have different opinion, but me, I just have these around. I like to play with them in my hands. Keep my hands occupied, my fingers doing something. But the reality is, most of these knives I have, the blades really have never even cut anything on them at all. I've sharpened a couple of them. They mainly cut paper. That's about it. They tend to often damage my desk when I drop them, so I'm really loving that part of the hobby. So I think that's all on this subject today, folks.